to see how we can assist each other as best as possible. So, Future Flash 3, Beyond Borders, the convergence of emerging markets and opportunities for LAC startups in global digital landscape. And our presenter is Avinash Vashishta, Chairman and CEO of Tholons Inc., the territory of the United States of America. Please make him welcome.
Thank you so much. This is a pleasure. And O2 LAC is not new to me. And it's always a pleasure to be here. And thanks to the IDB team, JamPro, and Fabrice, your team, to make this an amazing event. So let's talk about something that I'm very, very passionate about. I've seen the gamut of technology over the last 2-3 decades, from the outsourcings to what happened in terms of the globalization of talent. In 2010, the digital stuff came about, and everyone, if you look at McKinsey Digital, Accenture Digital, everyone wanted to have a division to say that we will take the clients to digital. And then in 2020, you had the COVID, and all of a sudden, the talent was at home. Whether people like it or not, remote working became a norm, and so that's the start of the talent globalization, which has really been a big help to all the emerging economies. Now let's look at, towards the end of the presentation, what 2023 and 2025 brings. So I think there's a lot of discussion on what 2023 is already bringing for us. So if you look at the top sectors that are being invested, so just trying to look at the demand side of technology. The technology itself and the AI is the biggest investment in the US by the VCs. Then you have health, consumer, which is one of the largest consumer markets in the world, to fintech, and the new digital, the clean tech. Now look at some of the demographics of the emerging markets. If you look at the population between just India and LAC, that's more than 2 billion. And then you have Eastern Europe compared to the US. The current GDP for the countries added up is still about half of what the US is. But by 2030, or in 10 years' time, the GDP for these 3 regions is going to be 25 billion. So that's really catching up, and that's growing very fast. So the growth rate is obviously in these geographies. Yes, obviously you have the US having so many unicorns, and that is a really inspiration and a great opportunity. Look at some of so I'm going to talk a little bit about the startup ecosystem and startups in India, in Eastern Europe, and in LATAM, and see as to how this is converging and how we can collaborate between ourselves. India's done great. It's the second largest ecosystem in the world, and about $400 billion in terms of the value of the ecosystem. Much paler comparison to the US, but still. I think there have been some great startups which have come in with some innovative stuff. Any of the emerging countries, we have always been saying that US and the Western economy is the one that produces these product companies. But the Freshworks and Zoho, and some of you may be using those products, were born in India. And they have done an amazing job in terms of being products that enterprises are using. In terms of 3 things I'm going to talk about, which are major innovation that has happened. One of the things is that if you look at what has been the issue of the emerging economy, why have they been behind on technology? Because the technology has been developed by the Western world. It's expensive. It's not easily adoptable, and the emerging economies cannot pay for it. I think what we are seeing right now across Latin America, with things happening in Brazil, things happening in Eastern Europe, and in India, where these technologies are being homegrown right now. And they're definitely built for scale which is into the billions of people, and they're definitely built to be able to cost very, very low. So the Digital India tech stack, which is supported by a lot of stakeholders, but also by the government, has an ID layer, and 1.4 billion people in India have biometric IDs right now. And that has become the backbone of almost everything it does. And right now, if you look at just the payment stuff itself, I mean, you're able to have a digital wallet through text message itself. It's become so easy to transact. So if you go to India, even from the US, you'll say, gosh, the payment system in the US is still old, by the way. You should go and figure that out. 1.52 trillion transactions happen on this platform. And by the way, this platform has now been adopted or is being adopted in 20 different countries. And the cost of this platform is close to zero. The other one is on the education side. The Diksha is a platform which really has all the modules and everything for education stuff. And that platform is again available as a plug and play for free. And 95% cost savings in training teachers. This is amazing, amazing impact. I know it's hard to believe, but I think I'll ask you guys to go and look out some of these things and see as to how you can actually be part of this, how you can use APIs and other things to be able to build systems that you're building on. The third one, in the COVID times, India had only one platform, one app. If you do not register on that app, and you could do it with a text message, you will not get vaccination. But once you do, your vaccination will be planned. Second vaccination, when it's supposed to happen, you can't have it early. And whenever you need a certificate, it'll be given to you. Now, this platform has done transactions. It used to do at one point more than more than a billion transactions a day. And it's an amazing platform. It's a healthcare platform. It has lots of things, attributes of what a healthcare platform needs to have. Again, this platform is available for free through APIs. I think let's get into some of the Eastern European economies in the startup stuff. IT software and services is common across all the three regions. Fintech is the largest adopter of technology historically, and that will obviously kind of figure out as being a strong area. And what has really come about in the last few years is the focus on healthcare and on renewable energy. In terms of Estonia, I think I would like to kind of point out Estonia, a country in Eastern Europe. They are a truly digital economy in terms of the digital infrastructure of connectivity, storage, networks. In terms of e-governance, you can get a lot of citizen services just online. It provides amazing transparency, and that has been an issue in a lot of emerging markets. Digital ID security and education, and also great policies and other things for startups. Talking about some of the Latin American companies. I mean, if you look at the new bank in Brazil, I mean, a great innovation. So I think one of the things emerging markets need to do, which is very, very important for everyone, is make sure the payments, the financial transaction is easily done by everyone. So I think that should be a focus for Latin America, it should be a focus for India, it should be a focus for the Eastern Europe as well. I think, coming to Caribbean, the areas which are kind of different over here is the tourism. And there's a lot of opportunity for tourism as an industry. There are a lot of services, and there are a lot of experiences that you can actually incorporate in the creative industry. I think, right now, if you look at it, what's the opportunity for Latin America? Because of internet, smartphones, and things like that, ideas don't have to be kind of kept in the country that they are. They are very, very global. And also, I think there are lots of opportunity for you to partner with and collaborate. And the three examples that I took right now. And I think the capital flows are happening towards these emerging markets because investors are realizing that this is an amazing area to invest. These are amazing startups to invest, and the return of investment is huge. I think this is the LAC economies. I mean, people may say that certain regions have low cost, but this is very, very attractive destination. One of the things I want to kind of talk about, and I'll take a minute over here, is how should you look at the future of services, future of outsourcing, future of technology? And we always try to basically automate things, but we never try to reimagine the way we do things. So I think one of the things that a lot of companies, Accenture, McKinsey, and others, and we do as well, is sit down with a client and say, reimagine. When I say reimagine, dream. Don't be constrained by what's possible. Dream the kind of experience you want as a client, the kind of consumer experience you want to give. Very, very important, because all the innovation that's happening around us is focusing on that. So if you really want to be a leading startup and be relevant, you have to get involved with your clients, with your consumer, and give them some experience. And then use the innovation that's out there in the startup ecosystem and deliver it with intelligent automation. And this is where the generative AI and everything needs to be integrated. So again, and there's been a lot of discussion in the last 2 days on generative AI, so I'll skip that. But what I'm saying is that there's not a single area, be it climate, be it chemical, be it manufacturing, that will be left unimpacted by generative AI. So this is something that you need to see, you need to innovate, you need to ideate as to how it's applicable. Just a little bit of how we can help. I mean, our history has been that over the last more than 20 years, we have been involved in the space of working with clients, Fortune 500 clients, Global 2000. We have done over $50 billion of deals. But also, I think we have a report that we publish, and a lot of you may have known, about destination. And what has happened over the years is it used to be about cost, it used to be about infrastructure. But now, over the last 5 years, we have added things about diversity and inclusion. We have added things about sustainability. And we have added things about innovation itself, by the way. So those things have become very, very important. So if you look at the top list, by the way, on business, life, innovation, diversity, and sustainability cities, I mean, right now we have lack of the emerging markets in the diversity, in the innovation, and in sustainability. So this is an area which is important. And right now, I think in this next few years, if you do not have significant attention to this, you will not be entertained by clients. We're already seeing on the diversity side, if you do not have a diverse team, if you don't have women in your business development team, the clients will not even talk to you. So I think, and again, right now, sustainability is picking up, but pay attention to that as well. Also, I think we can't live without innovation. So these are things that I hope we all can pay attention, and I think conferences like this really get you to ideate a lot. I mean, if you look at the top 10 cities, I think none of the cities that you see other than India were on the list before, 5 years ago. But today, the digital nations consist of a lot of other cities. Look at the ranking of the Latin American countries right now, or the cities. I think we need to do a lot more to improve on this. And adopting those 3 things that I said will be very, very important. This is just a little bit of, you have some names that are kind of associated to us. But I think there are a few things that you need to do. One is that startup stuff. I mean, there are lots of entrepreneurs who need help. I mean, when you go to a VC, you are at a much later stage. I think every country needs to have an accelerator, and I did hear about Jamaica having a tech accelerator. I think that's good. Every country should have a tech accelerator where they can get pre-seed companies to come in and take help to be able to accelerate. And that's like, we have one called the Arise. And also, I think the diversity is important. So Stronger Ventures, for example, focuses on women entrepreneurs. So I think you guys need to kind of see as to how you can work with your venture capital firms to have a little bit focus on the diversity side as well. I know it's not easy, but that's something that hopefully IDB can also do something to help in that direction. And again, if you look at certain things that need to be done, a lot of times they're not commercially very viable. So I think what needs to be happening right now, and I think a lot of foundations are trying to do, is to focus some of that money and challenge into foundations as well. Finally, I think work within the LAC economies. It is a big, big region by itself. Work with other emerging countries like India and Eastern Europe, US remains and will remain a big market, so find reasons to collaborate. And I guess what I want to say is my last slide is the 4 which is happening right now is redefining this entire business because of generative AI. And I guess in 2025, I know it took 10 years for the digital, 10 years for the talent globalization, and 3 years for generative AI, but another 2 years, I think sustainability and diversity is going to be very, very big. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.